Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to NCAA College Football Week 5, Greg. Week 5. My name is John Meleka, as always, co-host the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. We would appreciate it if you went on our YouTube, Knicks, Jets, etc. period. Like and subscribe, hit the notification, and also Winning Picks Weekly is on there, as well as Apple, Spotify, you name it, we are there. Greg, what's up, man? Week
What's
4.
what's
How'd that go?
going on?
How'd that go? How'd that go for you?
It was a battle. It was an absolute battle. I think it was 10-10 on the week on here, and it was ugly to start. I didn't get anything right on Thursday. Got nothing right on Friday. Noon slate. I was 1-4, and then just absolutely battled back. 3-4 in the 3 o'clock slate. I think 4-2 in the 7 o'clock slate, and then a bunch of winners in the 10 o'clock slate. So it was a fight. One thing I didn't have on here, but I had my buddy over. We were hanging out. We were talking about the games. He loved Texas Tech. I liked Texas Tech because I always just like betting against Texas, especially in a big spot. And we battled in that game. That was just screaming and yelling for 3 hours. I still don't know who number 9 is on Texas, who had the. There was an intentional grounding that was called against Texas, but they picked up the flag because
Yeah,
number
you
9 was in the
mentioned that.
area. Apparently, I don't know who he is. I still haven't seen him play for the last 3 quarters of that game when they picked it up. So it was an absolute fight, but ended up even on here, ended up pretty much even in real life too. So overall, it was an okay week. What about you? How'd you do last week in college football?
So I had a bit of a lull in my college football week. I've been doing great up until last week. Finally hit a downturn, but I think it's because I didn't do a lot of research. I wasn't on last week's episode, but I'm ready for this week, man. The research is back. There's 3 games that I absolutely love this week. I expect you to apologize for Bo Nix, but we'll get that later in the show. You were
Oh, I
hating
mean,
on him
he
halfway through
didn't
the show.
cover.
I know, but he was doing great. I mean, he came back. Wake Forest. We'll get into that. But before we get into that, I mean, I'd be remiss to not just mention right now
I
we are
apologize for the
recording
loss.
Thursday night. Tua just got really badly hurt. Did you just see that?
No, I did not see it.
Dude, Tua just got hurt in his back and his arm kind of T-Rexed.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah, it kind of looked really bad. So I just kind of want to mention that. That's what's going on right now. I feel like I just had to, I know he's a college football god, honestly. Tua. So hopefully he's okay. And on that great note, you ready to start this slate?
Oh yeah, let's get it going.
We're gonna do something different this week, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna start with our best bets of the week. Get this started on a hot note. Greg, we just mentioned Wake.
Yeah, what a game that was.
Is he the best quarterback in the league?
Wake's quarterback?
Yeah, Sam Hartman.
No.
He's
He's
not.
he's good. He's definitely good. I don't know if he's the best though. It's quite a
Okay.
statement.
I shout out to our co-host Chip, who's had it from the beginning that he was gonna come back early. I thought he's gonna be out for the season. He is one of my favorite players to watch in the entire league. I loved Florida State all year. You know that. They've been great. I'm wearing my U Albany hoodie. Let's go.
Oh yeah,
Shout
shout verse.
I have to take Wake Forest. I love that it's +7. I'm also taking the money line. But dude, this is a nice spot for Wake Forest, 330 ABC. It sucks that it's at Florida State. They're both ranked about the same. I absolutely love Wake Forest in this game, man. Talk me out because I might bet a lot on this game.
I had to stay away from it. I can't figure out Florida State. That's my problem. I feel like I know what I got going with Wake Forest. I got a slow mesh offense, allows, the receivers to get downfield a little bit, a little RPO. But I just don't know what I have with Florida State. I feel like they've kind of been a little bit all over the place. I don't think they've played anyone tremendously talented. Not as talented as Wake Forest, that's for sure. I think Florida State's been pretty good too. Um, Against ACC teams or against ranked teams. I'm forgetting which one right now, but I kind of stayed away from this one just because I wasn't too sure exactly on Florida State. So, you know, I kind of stayed away. The line scares me a
I
little bit.
love
Like I
Wake
don't get
here.
why Wake is getting a touchdown when
It should be Florida State -3. in my opinion.
Yeah.
I love Wake here. Give me one of your best bets.
Best bet for me every week. I was just trying to pull it up real quick because I think the line moved since I put it in here, which is crazy because it was only a few hours ago. It's Georgia minus whatever it is. I know they didn't cover last week. Against Kent State. Kent State's another team I have later that
29 and a half, bro.
Is it 29 and a half? I had it at
Yeah.
27 and a half when I put it in
It's
earlier.
moving. Yeah, 29 and a half right now. You 30 points?
I wish I actually put it in FanDuel at 27 and a half. 29 and a half, that's fine. Does not matter to me. I think that
FanDuel's
Georgia.
at 28 and a half right now on FanDuel.
Oh, okay, so 28 and a half. It's still 4 touchdowns, but dude, they're so good. It's crazy. And I believe they're playing Missouri and they stink. Chip and
Yes.
I talked about them last week because the line really didn't make too much sense to me because I know Auburn stinks, and then Chip was saying how bad Missouri stinks. The way they lose that game, going to overtime, then fumbling out of the end zone when they're
Yeah, that was crazy,
going it in
bro.
to win the game in overtime, and
That
they
was
end
so
up getting a
crazy.
touchback on it. That was crazy. That just shows you all you need to know about Missouri. Like I said, Georgia did not play great last week against Kent State. It was a little bit of a sleepwalk game for them.
That one hurt me. That was one of the games that hurt me because Kent State stinks too. You're talking about teams that stink.
I think Kent State's kind of good. Well, like I said, I'll talk about them later. I like the over in whatever game they're playing this week, against Ohio. Get the action going already. So
Yeah.
yeah, give me Georgia. Really, whoever they're playing, but definitely when they're playing teams like Missouri. I think Missouri's worse than Kent State. I think Kent State's
I
honestly better
agree.
than Missouri, and it's 10 less points.
I agree with that. The only issue here is they kind of burned me last week. What do you think about the minus 17 first half? I can consider that in a parlay.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible. 3 touchdowns.
It's still a lot.
20 to
Still a
nothing
lot.
at half, 24-3 at half. I could see something like that. I just don't see how Missouri's going to score the ball if you can only score 14 on Auburn.
That's a good point. All right, I'm gonna throw that into my maybe parlay pile. I'm gonna go with another best bet here. It's a team that I've loved all year, and to be honest with you, we have another segment coming up here called Spite Pick of the Week. This is my secondary spite pick of the week because I hate Michigan for how bad they were last week. They absolutely crushed me. I took the bait. I took the Michigan bait last week. They sucked. I've loved Iowa. Everybody's killing Iowa and they're saying the same rhetoric. Oh, they can't score. Listen, man. Not only did they kill Rutgers, I know they had two pick sixes at the end there, which was nuts. But remember when they were minus 23? They covered that too, right? Everyone's like, oh, they can't score. How are they going to do that? They covered that game. Who was that versus? Versus Nevada, which obviously Nevada's the worst team in the world, which I've been saying for years.
Yep.
The only game they haven't covered so far this year is versus Iowa State, and that was by the hook. It was 3.5, and they won by 3, 10-7. They've been a great against the spread, no matter what, even though everyone's been honestly just saying the same nonsense about them. They've been going under every game except for one, which was versus Rutgers last week. That went over 34. 34 is way too low. I love Iowa. I can't emphasize how much I love Iowa. Up to 10.5 right now, no problem. FanDuel's at 10.5. I love it. I love the money line. Plus 321 to be Michigan. This is a game that Iowa can easily win. Under 42, give me that. How do you feel about this game, man? Because you haven't been on the Iowa train all year, so maybe you'll be a little bit objective here, walk me off the cliff. But dude, man, Michigan stinks, bro. They couldn't even cover versus Maryland. Your Terps.
Yes and no, dude. Maryland got a score late, and they got a 2-point conversion late, which fucked me because I had the live line at 7.5, and I think they won by 7 if I remember correctly. And I had that as a winner in my book, with 4 minutes left, so that killed me. It also kills me because I talked about how much I liked Maryland this year, and then I ended up going against it because so many people are talking about Michigan. So many facts about Michigan first half. I was even saying it on the podcast last week. And I'm stupid because I say all the time I like betting against these big programs that getting a lot of chatter. I like betting against Texas. I should have liked betting against Michigan, and I was dumb for buying into
Yeah,
it. So
me too.
I'm kicking myself because Maryland was the play all along. They can score, they
Yes.
can play, they can run just like Michigan can.
I'm shocked you did take Maryland, actually. I thought you were on them.
I know. I was a doofus, but I might also be a doofus here too. I love Michigan. Iowa stinks, dude. I don't care what anyone says about scoring this and that,
I
dude.
disagree.
They stink. They
I
can't
disagree.
score. That's
I
that's
disagree.
that's the name of the game. Scoring more points than the other team
All right. The last two games, they scored 27 points.
off defensive plays.
You saying they can't score? I'm telling you, they scored 27 points the last two games.
Against Nevada and Rutgers. This is Michigan. This is a top 5 program. This is a team that was in the contention to go to the championship last year. They're going to be in contention to go to the championship this year. The only thing that honestly scares me is that it's in Iowa, and Iowa's played Michigan tough over the last few years. I think they've covered 5 in a row maybe. That worries me a little bit, but it's not those Iowa teams that were ranked. It's not those Iowa teams that were shocking the world like they were a year or two ago. And this isn't the Michigan team that's going to falter. Michigan was good all the way through last year. I think they'd be good all the way through this year. I love Michigan first half, -6.5. You just got to be up by a touchdown. And I like Michigan -10 for the full game, 10.5 for the full game as well. I just don't see how. I don't think they're going to be turning the ball over like Rutgers and Nevada were. I think it's going to be Michigan all the way. They can run,
Yeah.
they can pass, they can do a lot.
I see what you're saying. I just think that Michigan's going to Iowa and get crushed. I don't think they're going to score. I love the under in this game, but I definitely also am taking Iowa, and I'm so happy that it's 2 possessions. Give me
Yeah.
another one of your best bets.
Another one of my best bets. I've talked about it a lot here, and I'm sticking with it. I'm trying to stick to my guns here the best I can. UMass stinks.
Okay.
UMass is bad at football, and they have been terrible all season. Eastern Michigan's been okay. I like them last week, and they lost, which is kind of
So they're
driving me
going into the
crazy.
dumps for this game for your last best bet, huh?
Yeah, because I just think the line's like weird. Like we talked, Chip and I talked about Buffalo and Eastern Michigan last week. We liked Eastern Michigan last week because we thought Buffalo stinks. I still don't know how I feel about Buffalo, but they put up 50 points on Eastern Michigan. I think this is a huge bounce back game for them at home, hosting UMass. I just think UMass is not good. The spread on this one is 23 touchdowns. That's completely fine with me.
You taking Eastern Michigan here for one of your best bets?
Eastern
Okay.
Michigan, one of my best bets, absolutely.
Okay. This game, I know sounds crazy. Obviously, the marquee game of the week. So you don't want to be betting marquee games of the week. I totally get it. But NC State +7, getting a touchdown in Clemson, dude. I don't think Clemson knows what's coming with this defense of NC State. I love NC State so much. I've loved them all year. They haven't really let me down. I know they didn't cover. Oh no, they covered every single game.
No, they didn't cover against
East
ECU
Carolina.
week 1.
Yeah, week one. That's the only thing they didn't cover.
Yeah.
They've been clutch ever since, but honestly, it's been Charleston, Southern, Texas Tech, and UConn, right? So
Yeah.
is what it is there. What do you think about this game? Because dude, I love NC State so much. I think they're gonna win the whole conference. I think they're gonna win this game. What do you think?
Dude, I like Clemson in this one. It's kind of weird, but dude, NC State, Chip's talked about it a few times. Again, Chip Murphy on 7 can't be with us this week, so check him out on Twitter. He'll be posting all his picks. We'll get to his picks at the end, too, to wrap up. But he's been talking about it, and I'm agreeing with him at this point. NC State is not the same on the road as they are at home. They are dominant at home. They look really good. They do not look the same on the road. 4-12 against the spread on the road since the start of 2019. 0-3 straight up, 2-1 against the spread against the top 5 teams for NC State. So, all right, so they're 2 of their 4 covers have been against top 5 teams. So maybe it's just because they're getting a lot of points. Here they're not getting a lot of points. It's under a touchdown. I think Clemson looked pretty good last week with a few people out. They were missing some defensive players. I don't know if they're back this week yet. We'll see when it comes Saturday. But Clemson surprised me last week. I did not think they were going to be able to keep up with Wake Forest, so I took Wake Forest.
I took Wake too.
I was surprised by
I love
how
Wake
good
so
that
much, man.
offense got going. So
I'm
I think they keep it going.
Okay, so I'm wondering if it's just because I'm falling in love with these teams. Like these three are my best bets, but I could have told you that they were going to be right. I just love all three of their spots. They all three of them have huge games: Iowa, Wake, and NC State. They're all touchdown or more dogs. I just love them so much. I'm taking them in a parlay together. I'm taking them all separate. Man, I just love these three teams today. I get that Clemson's a big bad bully, but dude, they suck so much. They have nepotism in special teams. Did you see that? Wake was kicking it to Dabo's
They
son,
weren't
and he
kicking
was.
it to Dabo's son. They were kicking it away from one of the best running backs in college football. It just happened to be Dabo's son.
Oh, come on,
I don't
dude.
care what
Come on.
anyone says. That was such a fake storyline.
Clemson stinks. Any other best bets before we move on here?
Oh yeah, I'm going, dude. I sweated out that Texas game so hard. I clown on Texas here and there. I think they're in a tremendous bounce back spot this week. At home, -9.5. I really like them. Number 0 on their team. I'm blanking on his name right now. Overton or something like that. Dude, he was on offense. He was on defense. He was all over the place for them. And he was playing really good. So he was out in the first half last week because of a targeting call the week before. When he came back in the second half, I don't know if it's just because he was fresh, but dude, he had a huge impact on the game. I like Texas in the spot. -10 at home. Like I said, a big bounce back spot for them. Lost bad last week to Texas Tech on the road. It was a tough spot. Tech, even though like I willed it for them to win, they're not that great. And also West Virginia is not that great.
West Virginia scared me last week, though. I bet against them last week, and talk about sweating out. They're one of the teams I feel like I'm scared to bet against now. They obviously I had Virginia Tech last week, and it was not a ball game at all.
Yeah.
But dude, like watching that, I was like, hey man, like they even put up a fight against Kansas, who everyone loves so much with all their heart. You know what I mean? Pitt also, everyone laughed at that Pitt game because they were supposed to suck. Apparently, Pitt is good too. West Virginia's played really good games. They've been in a fight with the teams that everyone says is really good. I don't know, dude. I feel like 9.5 is a lot for West Virginia. I understand why Texas does this. I like your confidence about Texas. It makes me want to tail you, but I am scared to bet against West Virginia. I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean JT Daniels look good, but dude, BJ Robinson dropping or fumbling for Texas to lose the game last week, like he's going to
You got to
bounce
bounce
back in a
back.
major way. I think Card is the name for Texas, his backup quarterback that's in right now. Dude, he played great. He was not the problem last week. It was honestly just a dogfight, a rock fight. Like they were playing, both teams were playing pretty well on offense and defense. So the quarterback at Texas, I think, is pretty good. I think he'll do enough for them to have a chance to win this game by 2 touchdowns. Even not though, the 9.5, I just love that number, especially for a home team. Texas, I think, is just strong here in a bounce back spot. Give me Texas as a best bet.
All right, and jumping to our next segment, we teased it a little bit. It's called the Spite Pick of the Week. A team that you took last week. I mentioned my secondary Spite pick was against Michigan here, which coincided perfectly because I love Iowa. But I have a real Spite Pick of the Week,
So do I.
and that and that's against Georgia State, bro. I ate the Georgia State, I don't know, pudding if you want to call it. This line made no sense to me. We love Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina's been really good all year. They're
Have
probably
they?
going to win. Yeah, they're probably going to win the Sun Belt.
No. You're remembering old Coastal Carolina.
I'm pretty sure they're favorites to win the entire conference right now.
Maybe.
Georgia State coming off a loss to Charlotte was +2.5 versus Coastal Carolina. They got smoked in that game. They only lost by 2 touchdowns on paper. They lost by 10 touchdowns, man. They stood no chance. I hate Georgia State. Who's that was on a Friday too or a Thursday or something. I hate them so much. I am hammering Army. For extra spite, I might take them first half. I don't even like the first half line. I think the full game is I saw it -7.5. I saw it at -8. I love Army. I hate Georgia State. Hammering Army. I'm even taking the first half as a spite pick, man. As a double spite. I hate them. I'm Army's gonna come through. They better.
What time is that game? Do you know?
So 12.
12 o'clock. All right, I'm adding it to my slate in solidarity. I also just like
God.
Army.
Are you
Army.
betting against Ball State for your spite pick?
Nope. I got a new spite team, John. I hate them to death. Chip and I talked about them last week. I let them back into my life. UCF, and they had a chance to cover. It was -20. They
Oh,
had the ball in the red zone. They ended up kicking a freaking field goal instead of going for a touchdown when they had the game at hand. I don't know what they were doing. So that drove me crazy. They are now my new spike team. And I will probably be betting against them every week going forward. They're playing SMU on Sunday. Another thing, too, we talked about the Hurricane on the NFL episode. If you haven't checked that out, Winning P Weekly on Twitter. We tweet out the link to our YouTube, Knicks, Jets, etc. Go check us out there. They moved the game to Sunday at 1 o'clock, so it's a nice little throw it in with an NFL parlay type thing. SMU, we've talked about before. I like them. I think they're high scoring. They're getting +3 at UCF. I hate UCF. I think SMU is pretty good. I think SMU can score. Give me SMU on Sunday at 1 o'clock, +3 points.
Sunday 1 o'clock college. I'm down. I like it. I like it.
Love it. We got
Um,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and a little Sunday.
all college football sprinkle in. I'm be at Yankee Stadium all weekend as much as Mother Nature allows. I think Saturday might be rained out. Watching Aaron Judge hit 62. I think they're probably going to bench him for Texas, so this will be his last at bats for the regular season. Hyped about that. We got NFL on Sunday, and we have college football sprinkled all in between. I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped. But as per usual, let's start off with some noon games, man. Let's go through this slate. Any games that we have not talked about that we like, that we want to discuss. My favorite one, of course, that we talked about, Michigan, Iowa. But dude, I want to get your thoughts on a couple of games here, a couple of really important ones.
Wait, we're starting
One
at Saturday at noon?
Saturday at noon.
Oh, I got Thursday and Friday games.
All right, well, Thursday's done, but what do you got on Friday?
Oh, well, for the record, BYU under 60.5. That's just a stone cold lock. Tulane +2.5. And I love Washington -3. We talked about them a couple weeks ago when Michigan State was going to them, and Washington State was a +3. I had them last week at the under 64.5. I think it was 62 or 63, so it was close against Stanford. I think Washington's just rocking and rolling. They got UCLA this week, who, again, we've talked about. Chip's talked about. He doesn't like them. I don't mind UCLA that much, but I think Washington is just the real deal. They're on the road at UCLA Friday, 10:30 p.m. It's definitely a tough game, but I think Washington is the real deal out there in the pack. So I'm going with Washington -3.
This one. I'm not touching this game personally. This is a scary one. Anything else for Friday?
No, just Tulane -2.5. Again, I just like the green wave. Love the jerseys. I think they've been pretty good. I think are they 4-0 against the spread? No, I'm making that up. But yeah, they've just been pretty good this season. Had them in a couple spots. Should be betting them every week. I don't know why, but I like them, especially against Houston. I feel like Houston gets a little bit more respect than they deserve. I don't think they've been really great over the last 2 years. So give me Tulane on the road. I get it, but still, Louisiana to Texas isn't the craziest road trip.
All right, all right, all right. Moving on to Sunday, noon slate. We talked about a lot of these games. We talked about Army. We talked about Iowa, Michigan, as we said. We UMass Eastern Michigan's at 2 p.m. But there's a couple of noon games here that I need some discussion, man, because I know I'm gonna want to bet them. Maybe I'll stay away. I need you to talk to me about it because I'm interested in them, right? So first of all, we got Kentucky Ole Miss, dude. Is Kentucky the real deal?
Yes.
They are. So I'm assuming you like them +7, huh? On the road in Ole Miss with those cloud jerseys.
I do. I stayed away from this game just because
Yeah.
there's so
Okay.
much money
Stay
going on the
away.
under. And I'm a little confused by that just because I think Kentucky is okay for the 56. Like that just seems like I don't get why so much money is going on the under. Old Miss I think just struggled, man. I talked about that preseason. They haven't been the Old Miss that's scoring an absolutely crushing team. I mean, 35-27 last week against Tulsa. Lane Kiffin talking about fans leaving early and not being there in the second half. That kind of surprises me. They haven't really played anyone good yet, so when they might start getting tested here, they're definitely going to get tested with Kentucky. I think Will Levis is the real deal. I think Kentucky looks strong. 7th-ranked team in the country. I like Kentucky in this one getting points. Like you were talking about these big matchups, taking the underdog in this stuff because you think it's going to be close. I'm with you here with Kentucky if you're going that way.
I'm personally going towards Ole Miss.
Ooh, why?
Yeah, I like the way they've been playing. They come up big when they're at home. In general, I think this Lane Kiffin thing was a way to get his fans hyped for this Kentucky game. Like who cares for his side? They've been cover machines, right? Oh no, they're 2-2, right? They're 2-2. They
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
cover.
it's
They didn't
still
cover
early.
Tulsa,
They're 2-2. Kentucky's 3-1, so nothing crazy.
but they've been dogs in every single game. This is the lowest margin that they've. I mean, they've been favorites in every single game.
Oh yeah, they haven't
Uh,
played anyone Ole Miss. Yeah,
this is the lowest. So I could see where everyone's going here. I'm probably gonna stay away. I was hoping you had a real hard line on this game, but I'm leaning Old Miss here. Do you have anything to say about Temple Memphis, or is that just like a take it and pray that they cover? I might take the first half there. Anything?
no, I haven't even looked at that one.
All right. What about Navy Air Force? Air Force has kind of been annoying to me.
Love Air Force.
The only game that they really killed it for me is the Colorado game. My 14 points seems like a lot. What do you like about Air Force? You said you love them. What do
Navy's
you love about Air Force?
terrible. Navy is so bad. They're just so bad. I think a lot of people like the. I think the big stat out there everyone knows about, but if you don't, the Academy unders like hit almost every single time. This line is creeping up on the Iowa Rutgers line. Was at 38 right now. Um,
They gave East Carolina fits last week, man. East Carolina, I'm trying to keep my cool on them. Just trying to give it up to another bad game.
yeah, but
23-20 is bad, bro. Navy.
yeah, but again, they covered against Colorado. They lost outright to Wyoming, which was tough. But I think I had the under in that one. And then last week they covered against Nevada. Right, they won by 28. So, they've just been strong for me. I'm gonna keep rocking with them. 14 points. I don't think it's that crazy. If it drops to 13.5, I absolutely love it.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
But yeah, I
It,
mean,
it seems solid. -7 first half, 14 full game.
yeah, they definitely give ECU fits. Double overtime, 23-20. That's for sure. But dude, they just lost to Memphis. They lost to Delaware. I
Memphis is
mean,
good. Delaware stinks.
yeah, Delaware stinks
This
and
is
lost by
this feels like a
24
trap.
to Memphis.
This feels like a trap, man. I don't know. 14 is a lot. I would maybe go with the 7, but this is another stay away from me. Again, all these are stay aways. How about Oklahoma TCU, man? Oklahoma coming off a loss. You know how much I like TCU. Is TCU plus 4.5 an absolute trap? I mean, plus 6.5 an absolute trap.
It's a weird one. It's another one that I'm staying away from. Just for the record, Air Force -14 is a pick of mine. I'm taking Air Force. Dude, I just can't get a read on Oklahoma. They surprised me last week with their loss to K-State on a big-time game. The over is slammed. 92% of the money on the over at 68.5, 69 on some books. TCU's look pretty good. This is one of the games where I feel like TCU usually wins this game. But I'm staying away from this one. I don't have a feel for it. I haven't watched a lot of TCU football this year. I've watched a little bit more Oklahoma football, but I talk about bounce back spots and stuff like that. I just don't think TCU is a team you really bounce back against. I feel like it's a lot harder than people think. I think TCU is one of those programs that doesn't get in a lot of like national attention and national spotlight. So like, oh, it's TCU, but like they're pretty good year in year out. They're feisty. 6.5 points, 7 points, 6 points, depending on what it lands at. That's pretty tough to do on the road, especially with the Oklahoma team that's not playing. Like I thought Oklahoma was going to start rolling here, and they couldn't get into gear last game. Defense could not stop K-State. So yeah, I'm staying away from this one.
All right, so moving on a little bit here into the 1 and 2 p.m.s. JMU, I loved them last week. I feel like 22 is way too much against Texas State, even though they stink. What I really want to sit and talk about, you mentioned Eastern Michigan as one of your best bets. You hate Ball State, so I'm not even going to ask you. I'm sure you're taking Northern Illinois if you had a choice there. You know how much I love ECU. I'm taking ECU first half and full game. If you have any thoughts about USF, I would like some thoughts there. And to wrap it up, one of
Nothing.
my most interesting games here, man. One of my most interesting games here. It's your Utes, the Utah, home, minus 10.5 against the Oregon State cover machines, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
Dude, they cover every single game. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Versus Boise State, -2, crushed them. -1.5 against Fresno State. Everybody loves Fresno State. Beat them by 3. -16.5 against Montana State. Beat them by 40. Plus
Yeah, they're
five and a
good.
half.
They've been
Plus
good.
5.5 against the best team in the whole world, according to everyone. USC covered the 3. Played them really well. 10.5. I mean, talk about a game where I am waiting for this line to inflate as much as possible. I know it opened at 12, down to 10.5. I'm waiting for this at 1 o'clock to go back to maybe 11. I think maybe back to 11.5, but like if it goes to 11, I absolutely love it. 10.5, still love it. I like Oregon State, man. They cover every single game.
Yeah, it's one of those teams like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If you're covering and it's going well, just keep riding it out. I like Utah, but I'm not betting this one. To me, something seems a little stinky. Like why is 70? Everyone knows Oregon State's good, but yet still 75% of the money's on Utah. 96% of the money's on the under. I don't. I couldn't get a real feel for this one, so I'm rocking with Oregon State.
All right,
If I had to pick, but I'm not.
give me a game in this afternoon going into evening here that you got your eye on.
Well, we skipped two of my noon games that I like, so let me get those in real quick. I love Wisconsin against Illinois. Or I'm sorry, not
7?
Illinois.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Illinois. Yeah,
7.
-7. Huge bounce back for Wisconsin. After getting demolished by Ohio State, my best bet last week. I just think that Illinois hasn't been, Wisconsin's one of those teams where if you're playing a better opponent, they look bad, and when they play an inferior opponent, they just absolutely smother them. So
That's
give
fair.
me Wisconsin -7. I don't think that's that crazy of a number at home after a bad loss to Ohio State on national TV that everyone watched and laughed at them for. And then also I don't know why I didn't make this one of my best bets. Kansas State over 56.5. I just think that after what I saw last week with, was it Martinez as their quarterback against Oklahoma, dude, they just looked like they could be the real deal. Like he leads the team in rushing. He's great. He was great last week when he needed to be in pressure situations. They're playing Texas Tech, who had the huge win last week against Texas at home. Now they're going on the road to Kansas State, who's also coming off a big win. So that worries me a little bit that this might be let down central and it goes under. But Kansas State's 23-9 to the over as a top 25 team at home. 82% of the money's on the under. Tech is 3-1 to the over so far this season. I just think this is points. The over-under is 56.5. It's not even really that high of a number for college football. So I like the over in this one. I think both these teams, after watching both these games. Kansas State last week, I watched that closely, and then obviously I was sweat out every play in Texas Tech. So I think both these offenses are a little bit underrated. 56.5 seems like a doable number, so give me that. Going into any other afternoon games though, John, I don't have anything. I go right to the 3 o'clock game. So if you have any 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock games, let me know what else
Go
you
ahead.
got.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll keep rocking, dude. Maryland, I'm sorry. I don't know what I got to do to apologize besides bet a whole bunch of money on you. And I will be responsibly this weekend. Maryland -8 at home. Michigan State stinks.
I see it 7.5.
7.5, even better. I'll take it. If it drops under 7, it's a double unit bet for me. Chips talked about it from the get-go, from the preview episode. I agree with him. You agree with him. I think, if I'm not speaking for you, Michigan State's not that good. I think Maryland can throw. I think Maryland can play. They went up against a stout Michigan defense, and they took it to them, man. They have 3 or 4 good receivers. They have good tight ends. I love the running back there for Maryland. Love the uniforms. At home, Michigan State on the road looked terrible at Washington. I don't think they're going to look particularly good this week against Maryland. Give me Maryland to kick off my 3 o'clock slate, -7.5.
The Terps. I like it.
Love those jerseys. Love those flags.
I love them. And then Michigan State going up against Ohio State next week. Maybe a little bit of a look ahead.
Big time look ahead.
I like that. No qualms there. Do you have any thoughts on Iowa State, Kansas? Are you all hopping on this Kansas bandwagon?
Love Kansas. Yep. Love Kansas.
Man,
4-0 against the spread. To your point, you were talking about how good Oregon State's been covering. They have a cover margin of plus 11.6. So if you add up all their games and what their spreads were, they've covered by a total of 11.6 points over 4 games. Kansas leads the league in cover margin at 17.5. The games that they're playing are not close. They're covering with ease. I think they keep it going this week. They're +3, right? At
yeah,
home.
But don't you think that's adjusted a little bit?
What do you mean it's adjusted?
Like the lines are adjusting a little bit to Kansas. Like they come out of nowhere.
Yeah, like instead of it being +7, it's +3. You're saying like going into the season, like what was the look ahead line before the season started? You're saying?
Yeah, like do you believe that maybe things are shaping up a little bit? I mean, before the season, I see it at 9.25. It was -3. They're not going to go past that. I'm just saying, do you think maybe this line is caught up to maybe evening it out on Kansas a little bit with that margin?
It could be, but still, it's the largest margin in the league. So, and I also don't think Iowa State's particularly good.
I mean, they're 3-1 against the spread. I would say 1-1 against real teams. Iowa they covered against, and then they didn't cover against Baylor. They were -2.5. I thought they were played a pretty good game versus Baylor, to be honest with you, last week. I don't think they looked bad. I think it was a good game.
To your point, the line has definitely adjusted some preseason when this guide that I had in front of me was made. So this is sometime in August. Maybe they put it together in July. Vegas had it at +12.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
So.
This line is severely adjusted. You know what I mean? I kind of like Iowa State here, dude. They've been good. They could even beat Kansas. Would you be honestly shocked here if you came in here and Iowa State beat Kansas?
No, I mean the Iowa State's a favorite on the road. Like to me, that's crazy. I don't think Iowa State, unless I'm just not watching Iowa State as closely as I thought I have. Let me click on them real quick because I thought I've been checking them out because we have Breece Hall. I watched them last year.
Dude, last time they were on the road, they beat Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa stinks. You're the only one. You keep saying Iowa's good. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm the only one, right?
They won. They scored 10 points. I think Kansas is going to score. Yeah, they've played Ohio and Missouri State, or whatever that team is. They played week 1. Real teams that they've played, they won 10-3 against Iowa, and then they lost last week at home versus a ranked Baylor by 7 though. It wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. It was a good game. It was a legit good game. I watched it.
Yeah.
All right.
But
we'll split on this. If I'm betting this game, I'm taking Iowa State. I'm not buying this hype. They didn't. 8 points is way too much of an adjustment.
Oh, I'm definitely betting it. I'm taking Kansas +3.
All right, we're against each other there. No problem. Let me ask you this about Fresno State, man. Fresno State against UConn. Do I just blind bet against UConn?
I don't know.
24 points.
I don't know
They
because
covered once.
yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, they got absolutely smoked by NC State. I had the under last week in that. NC State had the over themselves, so they definitely were not good on the road. Yeah, I mean,
It's also NC State.
Fresno. How have they been against the spread? Fresno State.
So Fresno State is 1-2 straight up.
0-3
However,
against the spread.
no, that's not true. They covered week 1 versus Cal Poly. They're plus 42.
Yeah, they were minus 43 and they won 35-7. They only won by 28 points.
For some reason I have it backwards for some reason.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe
right.
I think the line might have moved a lot on that. Like maybe it closed at 43, but when we talked about it, I thought that they covered one of those games as well too.
That's fine. So
Um,
I thought they were gonna put up a bigger fight against USC, if I'm being honest with you. Of course, they went against the Oregon State cover machines. They weren't gonna cover that. They should absolutely kill UConn, bro. This should be a get right game for them.
yeah, I think so. Is it at UConn?
Yeah, UConn.
Yeah, what's the spread on it?
24.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, so to your point, UConn's what, 1-3 against the spread. Fresno's 0-3. Records don't mean everything. Chip and I were talking about that last week. Like, there's a lot of 3-0 teams last week that there's very big variations between those teams. Fresno 0-3 is not the same as UConn 0-3. UConn's just been, or 1-3, or whatever UConn is, because they beat Utah State week 1. Um, when they play a better team like they like they did last week.
I think they covered against Central Connecticut too, because I'm pretty sure I bet on Central Connecticut week 2.
Okay, so maybe they're 2-2. But
2-3.
dude,
Syracuse, Michigan, NC State. They got wrecked all 3 games.
yeah, I'm staying away from this one. I just don't know how good Fresno is. They've looked pretty good, but this is a true test for them. To your point, this could definitely be a get right game. If it drops below 24, if it's 23.5, maybe that's good because you got it under the number. But
I'm taking Fresno first half.
I'm staying away. Oh, that might not be bad either. Starting out hot.
14, 2 touchdowns. Give it to me. All right. Anything else in this afternoon before we move on?
Oh yeah, Penn State minus 25 at home.
I like them, but isn't that a lot, dude?
Yeah, but Penn State's good. Penn State's that good. At least I think so.
I mean, Northwestern's bad, right? So I mean, are both
Yeah,
sides of
so
the
it goes
spectrum
both
there.
ways. That's why I'm comfortable with it at 24, 25, whatever it ends up being, because Northwestern, they're dead to me. That's another dead to me team when they got absolutely smoked by Duke. They've looked terrible all season.
Well, we kind of called that.
Yeah, Penn State's look good. I really like them. Another game that I have here.
I'm taking Penn State first half. I like to do a little first half parlay. Just to get my juices going a little bit. So I probably right now looking like Fresno, Penn State, ECU, and Georgia. We'll see what happens.
It's not bad. Oklahoma State, I like them on the road at Baylor, plus 2.5. I think the Oklahoma State has just been killing people. Really doing really well on offense, as always under Gundy.
This is their first real game of the season, though.
It is. It is for sure. Baylor's looked pretty good. Baylor's looked okay. They had a tough one we talked about against Iowa State last week.
They smacked Albany week 1. Shout out, you Albany.
Yep, that's true. That's true. So this is definitely their first test, but dude,
I mean BYU.
I was talking about Oklahoma State is their first test.
Okay,
no,
okay.
Baylor's played some real teams. So Baylor's definitely, and Baylor's home.
Texas State's not real. Well, Texas State and Albany aren't real.
Yeah,
I'm literally wearing you Albany hoodie.
Yeah, but BYU, Iowa State, that's not too bad. So, give me Oklahoma State in the points. I think it's a little bit of a weird one.
This is a tough game, man. Oklahoma State their first game ever. First game of the season.
Yeah,
At
like
Baylor.
just 70% of the money's on Baylor. To me, I don't really know why 70% of the money would be on them at this point. I don't think
Fair.
either one of these teams is absolutely crazy better than the other. I just like
fair.
Oklahoma State. I like the colors. I like Gundy. I think they score. And
That's fair.
I just don't know if Baylor can keep up. So give me
What else
Oklahoma
you got for
State.
me?
Another one I talked about. We're getting to Maction already. I know it's not the Maction on Tuesdays, but still we got some conference to play this week. I love Ohio at Kent State, the over 65. I think that's gonna be points, points, points. That's at 3:30, I believe that game is. Um, Kent State looked good last week against Georgia. Kent
So
State's been
annoying.
scoring, man. Kent State can score and Ohio can score. That's why it's 65. But, dude, they played Georgia and put up 22. Georgia didn't allow more than 10 points all season until they played Kent State. Again, at Georgia, right? Or no, yeah, at Georgia. Kent State again on the road against Oklahoma. Not so good. 33-3. But week 1 at Washington. Washington's a top 15 ranked team. They've been pretty good. They scored 20 against Washington. So if they're able to score 22 on Georgia, 20 at Washington, and then when they play teams like Long Island, they kill them 63-10. To me, they got a decent offense. Ohio, again, same kind of thing. I think that they have a pretty good high-powered offense there. When they're playing teams that are kind of equal or they're a little bit better than, I mean, they're putting it on. The other thing, too, Ohio, not the best defense. They let up 52 to Fordham last week. They won that game 59-52. But still, when they played better teams, Iowa State, Penn State, they only scored 10. But then again, when they played FAU, 41-38. So I think when they play evenly matched teams, Ohio they score and they let up points. I think Kent State can score, so give me the over 65. And finally, in the 3 o'clock window or the 3:30 window, I think I have to do it, and we'll talk about it. I think I have to ride with Washington State, man. Cal stinks. I guess it's a 5:30 game. I don't know why I had it at 3:30. Sorry. So we can
I
get
don't
to the
think this is
evening slate.
crazy. Everybody's on Washington State.
Everyone's on Washington State, and I think rightfully so. I just don't think Cal's very good, even though they might have won last week, but I don't think it was against anyone in particularly good. Washington State, man, that cover saved me from a week of hell from talking with you against Oregon last week. It killed me because I had the money line in a parlay, so that was definitely a backbreaker because that was my one loser in that parlay. But dude, I like this game. I like Washington State. I said I think their defense is last week. I said their defense I think is pretty good. I think their defense was okay. Wasn't particularly good, but now they got a team like Cal to beat up on. -3.5. I think they're at home, right? Washington State again, back-to-back weeks. So, yeah, give me them at home -3.5.
All right. I'm honestly pretty good here until the night games. I really wish that there was a Syracuse Wagner line, but unfortunately there is not. I would love to bet against the Staten Island Wagner College, all day. I don't understand why Charlotte is +3, opened up at even, went all the way to +3, and all the money's on Charlotte. I refuse to lose money on Charlotte. So I'm not betting UTEP. I refuse. I refuse to
Yeah.
lose money. So I'm staying away from that. But I think that's funny. Old Dominion versus Liberty. That's an interesting game. Obviously, bottom of the barrel here. We're talking some tough football. But dude, I hate Liberty and I love Old Dominion. They've been killing it for me all year. I might end up taking Old Dominion here. Just out of out of love, I have love for what they've been doing for me. Plus, they got the hook. Plus, I hate Liberty, so
Yeah, +3.5 at home. It's not bad.
this might be a nice one for me. Just like shut up and take it. I know we talked a lot about NC State Clemson. That's probably the marquee game. How about LSU Auburn? I know you guys talked about last week about the Auburn coach being fired, but they're 3-1. I mean, they didn't look half bad last week. I know they didn't cover, but they won the game. Is this the game where they get smacked and the coach finally gets fired versus LSU?
I don't know because I don't know what to make of LSU, to be honest with you. I feel like LSU is just kind of riding a roller coaster. I know it's year one of whoever the coach is there now that came over from Notre Dame. But week one, they kind of looked a little floppy against Florida State, but then they got into it at the end. They lost on a last-second extra point that got blocked. by our boy from Albany. And then after that, LSU just gone on a little bit of run. They beat Mississippi State pretty handedly week 3. They obviously crushed New Mexico. Sorry, Chip. At Chip Murphy 7, check them out. 38-0 last week. I feel like this is one of those games where if LSU's the real deal this year and they have everything going that they think they do, they win this game by a ton. -8 kind of makes me feel like this is an easy bet. But, I get a little nervous about it. 75% of the money's on LSU. 62% of the money's on the over 46. Kind of a low total. But I think that's just because Auburn just doesn't seem that good. But to your point, they're 3-1. So what are you going to say? Wonder what they are against the spread.
We just said how bad. They're
Missouri 0-4 against the spread, John. How can you take them?
I know. And also, they only won by 3 last week to Missouri.
Yeah.
Couldn't even cover Missouri, man.
Yeah, and LSU's 3-1. You know what? I'm adding it to my card. It's a great call, John. LSU -8.
Yeah, I like LSU here.
I love it. Other game I have in this area, I like the over in the Cincy game. Cincy's playing Tulsa. I think Tulsa's kind of had an interesting season, but they're getting 10 points at home since he's coming to town. 85% of the money's on Tulsa. That worries me a little bit for Cincinnati in the spread. So that's why I look to the over in this one. I think both these teams can score. I believe, let me check here, over-unders on the season. Cincinnati is 4-0 to the over this season. They've been scoring. And then Tulsa is 3-1 to the over. So both these teams score. Both these teams love to go over. It's 58.5, not the craziest number for college football. And I think Cincy kind of had a rough week 1 against Arkansas. And they were in that game. That game was pretty close at the end. And then now they have Tulsa. Since then, they've been rolling. And they've been scoring. Tulsa, though, like I said, kind of a weird season. They lost to Wyoming. Then they beat Northern Illinois. Then they lost last week to Ole Miss. But then again, it was kind of a close game, 35-27. So it was an 8-point game at Ole Miss. That's kind of suspect for Ole Miss. So I think they can score. I think they can score against good teams. I definitely think they can score against bad teams. But Cincinnati, it's not the same defense as last year. They've been leaning on points. They've been leaning on the over. So give me 58.5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much done for the slate for the week, man. The last game here I absolutely love is Oregon. Oregon first half, -9.5. Bo Nix at home. You hammer that, absolutely hammer that, and that's it, man. I'm looking for another huge week.
Yeah, I like that too. I also like is USC against Arizona State.
25.5 is a lot, bro.
And I get a little nervous about the interim coach.
That's a lot, dude.
But, dude, give me the under 61.5. Give me the under. I just don't think it's going to be 61.5. It's like one of the highest over-unders that I talked about today because I just don't see it at scoring 62. Arizona State, the Herm Edwards, stories come out about maybe staff members are sharing the plays with the other team to try to get Herm Edwards fired.
Okay,
like that's crazy if that's the case.
I'll take under 61, bro.
Yeah, dude. I just don't think 61. I feel like
that.
USC is going to have to score 50, 55. And I just don't know if they need to. I get that it's a late game, so it's probably one of the few games on TV.
I like that.
But, yeah, give me that. Let's go over Chip's picks real quick, too, because I think we're through our slates as well. And I'm pretty sure we talked about all of them but one. So Chip he liked Washington -2.5. I agree. We talked about that. Iowa +11. He's on it with you.
Let's go.
We'll see. I might be eating crow next week.
He's not only against Michigan, which he's been on them all year and all offseason, and he hates Iowa. So that's a big one for me. I'm hyped.
Yeah, that is a big switch for him. One game that he has that I looked at, but I did not end up taking, Purdue +12.5 on the road, noon Saturday against Minnesota. 71% of the money's on Minnesota. Minnesota, I think, has looked really strong this year.
90% of the bets.
90% of the bets. That's true. So there's a little sharp action on Purdue. Purdue, I think,
is it sharp? Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
everybody's on Minnesota.
Yeah. Purdue, I think, has been able, surprisingly to me, I don't know if it's surprising to everyone, but the thing that stuck out to me about Purdue so far this season is they can score. They've been putting up points. They scored 28 last week, 29 the week before, 56 against a terrible opponent the week before that, and then 31 against Penn State. Like, they've been in every game. Every game's been close.
You know what? I
35-31.
love this. I love Purdue, man.
Yeah,
I'm with this.
35-31 against Penn State,
I forgot about that
28-26 against
Cuse game.
FAU,
He watched that whole
32-29
Cuse game.
against
So
Cuse
did I.
game.
That's why. Yeah. And I remember. I don't know if we can count. Was it week 0 versus Penn State? Was that week 0?
That might have been week 0.
Yeah.
But still, I kind of like Purdue. I ended up staying away because all the money is on Minnesota, and Minnesota's looked really good. I took
That
them
makes me
last
like Purdue.
week. Really liked them. So I mean, I think they have one of the best rushing attacks in the league. They're ranked. They're at home. They're killing teams too. I mean, 34-7 against Michigan State last week. I mean, they've let up 10 points is the most they've let up all season. So maybe they're playing bad teams. Well, they're definitely playing bad teams, but I don't know. I couldn't get a read on it, so I stayed away. But Purdue plus 12, something to look at for Sunday or
I
Saturday.
like it. Add it to my card. What else you got?
Nothing. That's it.
All right. All right. That wraps up week 5 NCAA college football slate. We got our best bets at the top. We got our spite picks. We went down the whole slate. We got Chip at the end, Chip Murphy 7. Catch us on Knicks, Jets, etc. period on YouTube. Like, subscribe to our channel. Like this video. Comment. It really helps us out. We got the Jets, the Knicks, and the Winning Picks Weekly all under there. But Winning Picks Weekly is also by itself on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, you name it.
Google
We are
Play.
there.
That's my favorite one. Google Play.
Google
Shout them
Play.
out.
You name it, we are there. At Winning P Weekly on Twitter. I'm at J Meleka. At Jim Murphy 7. We out.
We'll see you guys next week. Let us know what you're taking on Twitter.